Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys. And yes, we are going to reflect on what we saw last night. And honestly, I'm still getting my head around it all. I'm still struggling to process everything we saw in that game, from the crowd to the performance to the aftermath, of course. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing, ultimately, what went wrong at the Camp Nou against Eintracht Frankfurt. We are going to be discussing it all. But what I do also have to say is, and what I have to assure you, this isn't a full doom and gloom video. It isn't all going to be negative, heads down, everything's all finished for us, because we are going to be taking a look forward at how we move on and the vital end of the season that is going to be coming for us. It is all coming your way. So let's get to it. Because like I say, guys, yesterday's match in its entirety, and I think I would say as well, the performance from Barça, I think it was very much a shock to us all. In the first leg against Eintracht Frankfurt, yes, I think we underperformed. It wasn't the kind of game that we were expecting, but I think this was something very, very different in so many different ways. The first thing that we have to discuss again, it is about the crowd. Because even now, hours after the game, the day after here, I'm looking at images of the stands last night and the celebrations at the final whistle, for example, when Eintracht Frankfurt there got over the line, and it was almost like the home crowd rejoiced. The stadium was bouncing and full of white. What on earth? I just still, looking at that, it's harrowing. It is completely unimaginable in my mind that that could happen in our home. This is like our house. You don't have somebody else coming into your house, making themselves comfortable, starting to shout at your TV. No, that's my house. This is my home, and we should protect that. And we shouldn't have allowed that to be almost taken over by another group of fans. It is simply inexcusable. What I do have to say is, honestly, deep down in my heart, I don't want to believe, and I can't believe, to be honest, that the club themselves would let this happen on purpose. I don't believe here what we're hearing, sort of rumours around that maybe the club thought, okay, let's get some money in, let's sell the tickets here to Eintracht fans who, of course, really want them and help to boost our finances. I don't believe that, simply because by going out of the Europa League, by getting knocked out, we would have lost more money than we gained in ticket sales. So I don't believe here the club thought, okay, let's raise some cash, because by going out, we've lost a lot more. And of course, they would have known that too. Laporte, after the game, did come out. He faced the media. He said what happened is a disgrace. You could see it in his eyes. He was shocked. He was surprised. He couldn't believe, and he was certainly ashamed by it all. He said it's embarrassing. There were many fans for the other team and not many for ours. As a Barça fan, I am ashamed. He said we will take strict action to ensure that this cannot be repeated. And I think what hurt me more than that from Laporte was certainly the words from Xavi, because watching his press conferences there after the game, there was almost a sadness in his eyes, almost as though he was genuinely let down by the fans last night, because he called, let's not forget, for that stadium to be bouncing on the side of Barça. He wanted help from the crowd after a great run that the team had been on, and yeah, he did not get anything close to what he was looking for. He said the atmosphere, it didn't help us. He said the stadium was a divided one. He said it was almost like a final where you have equal fans from both teams. He said, and this can't be allowed to happen. This was a miscalculation the club are looking into. And he said, we want to know what happened. He said the players in that dressing room too, he said they want to know. He said, frankly, I am disappointed. I wanted 70, 80,000 Barça fans to be filling the stadium, but it didn't happen. But he said, I do want to thank those who came out to support us in the stadium today. And I just thought it was a real shame, given the run the team had been on, given the way that Xavi had called upon the fans, given the fact that, you know what, those players had been doing so well. They had deserved our support unconditionally, and to be whistled and booed, playing in your own stadium in a quarter-final decisive second leg, it is simply unacceptable. However, guys, what I do also have to point out here, having spoken now about the crowd, about the atmosphere that Xavi admitted it did not help us, what Xavi also went on to say, though, was this. He said the atmosphere is not an excuse. He said the problem was a football one. We made too many mistakes, we made errors in every single one of their goals, and now we've got to look at ourselves and we have to learn from what we did wrong. He said we did not play well, and that is is why we are out. And I think big credit there to Xavi, because yes, the atmosphere, it wasn't helpful, it's something that you never expect, but he's also saying, look, we were not good enough. And I hold my hands up and say, we weren't. We simply did not arrive for the first 80 minutes of that game. It was not the Barça that we know. It is not the Barça that we want to see. And undoubtedly, Eintracht Frankfurt were the better team. I've got to say, in all honesty, when I saw the starting lineup, I was very, very surprised. You know, if Dest wasn't quite ready to start the game, would I have gone with Mingueza? I'm not sure this was the game to throw him into. We haven't seen him for most of the season, and I just think here this was a massive, massive game. And to start him, I think that backfired massively. And you can see, by the way, that Dest came on for the second half. Of course, in midfield, Frankie de Jong apparently didn't feel well before the game. That was why he didn't start, but he came on and made an impact in that second half. And I think what we have to acknowledge as well, for sure, is how much we miss Piqué. Because no matter what is said about Gerard Piqué, no matter how old he may be getting, he is still a very key figure in this team. He is still the leader. He is still a calming influence right throughout that back line. And when he's not there, you do notice that hole. You do notice the fact that we definitely miss the influence and the presence of Piqué in this team. But I think simply, we just couldn't cope with Eintracht. From the pace they were playing at, with the energy they were showing, with the intensity they brought from that very first whistle, we did not match that. We did not face them off head-to-head and actually come out in top in any of our individual or collective battles. And I think the chances that we did have, we missed them at really bad times. Because you look there at the two unbelievable misses from Aubameyang, very, very uncharacteristic with what we've seen from him at the club. It wasn't just the way that he missed the chances. It wasn't the fact that, you know what, those were easy goals, tap-ins almost for him. But it was the timing, the fact there that either one of those would have really changed the feeling of the game. The first one would have been hitting back straight away from Eintracht's first goal. And then the second one, at the very beginning of the second half, we could have started the fight back. We could have really raised the energy of the game, but it just didn't happen. I think for the whole team, I don't think you can look at individuals. I don't think you really single out anyone to put all this blame on. We've got to accept the loss. It can happen in any game at any time. You can lose a football match if you're not there. If you don't apply yourselves, you will get hurt. But the one thing that I would say is that, to be fair to the players, even at 3-0 down, it was a dreadful start. We did not do well, like I say, but even at 3-0, from 80 minutes onwards, what a performance. Suddenly then, they did fight. They did really work hard to make the comeback, and if it wasn't for time just about running out and some contentious decisions, we could have done it. We actually could have turned around and made the impossible possible. But where was that intensity? Where was that hunger? Where was that desire for the rest of the game? Because the team that we saw there from 80 minutes onwards, they were unbelievable. The pace, the speed of thought, the cutting edge in the final third, it was fantastic. But it was too little and it was too late. But, and this is the really, really important thing right now, guys, that game, that defeat, that bad performance, it's gone. It's not coming back. There's nothing that we can do about that now. So we can either linger on it, we can either really drop our heads and really drop the mood and suddenly it's all doom and gloom, or we pick ourselves up, we learn from that, and we move on. And we need to do that, because we have huge games coming. We all know that top 4 for most of the season, that's been our objective. We don't want to be playing in the Europa League. We want to be in the Champions League. And what we have now is 8 finals. We've got 8 games to go in the season. We've got our game in hand included in that. And what we have to do now is continue our incredible unbeaten run in La Liga, win our games, put pressure on all of the teams around us, and don't stop. And the absolute best way to respond to this kind of result will be to hit back with a big performance and a big result in front of, hopefully, plenty of Barça fans on Monday. So please, guys, do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. There has been a lot to get your head around over these past 24 hours. There's been a lot of emotion, a lot of different thoughts circulating around all of our minds. But let me know down below, how are you feeling right now after that defeat, after that performance? What are your feelings now looking ahead to our next game, to those coming league games? Lots, of course, that we're going to have to discuss coming up to those. We will come back from this. We will make sure of that, and I will of course see you soon. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, for your incredible support. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.